Welcome to the class again. We were discussing 2,3 sigmatropic reactions with oxygen halides, what is called Wittig rearrangement. In the next example, we will see the generation of oxygen halides with the carbene. Yesterday, we have seen an example of generating sulfur halide with carbene. So today we will see generation of oxygen halides with carbene. When it is treated with a copper source, when it is treated with a copper reagent, this copper reagent will generate a carbene here. This is the carbene, oxygen. Because oxygen is nucleophilic in nature, carbene is electrophilic in nature, oxygen will easily attack on carbene. Because oxygen is donating electrons, it gets the positive charge. Because carbene is gaining electrons, it gets the negative charge. Now we have generated oxygen halide. It undergoes 2,3 sigmatropic rearrangement. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So there will be a bond formation between 2,3 systems. There will be a bond breaking between 1, 1 systems. Okay. So you write the product. Here this methyl group is below the plane. So this whole rearrangement will occur above the plane. So the product is methyl below the plane. Yeah, this oxygen carbon bond will break down. So we are not writing it. This carbon carbon bond formation will take place. And yeah, this is the third carbon, second carbon, first carbon. Because it is below the plane, this rearrangement will face spherical problem below the plane. So obviously it occurs above the plane. I'll again give the numbering. This is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, 3. Right. In the next example, we will see the endoselectivity of oxygen halides. When it is treated with LDA, it has given a product of so this is 84 is to 60. Yeah, other product is below the plane. I'll write here. Mostly, as I said, it will be cis only. It will be cis only. The other product is below the plane. Now, we will see how these stereochemistries are coming. As I said, these 2,3 sigmatropic rearrangements, they'll have 5-membered ring transition state. 5-membered ring is more stable in envelope conformation. So we need to write the envelope conformation for this. Right. When we are writing envelope conformation, so this is the envelope conformation, and yeah, we don't have bond here, so we will have it like this. Then this is the double bond, allylic system. This is the oxygen. This is the substituent group. Now you see, as I said, we need to keep the Z substituent here. It is not visible. We need to keep the Z substituent here. Here it is E double bond. So E substituent, methyl group will be above the plane. Z substituent, that is hydrogen will be below the plane. So this is E substituent, this is Z substituent. Then we don't have any substituent here, so no problem. Then I think I'm missing one more carbon, right? Yes, I'm missing one more carbon. Here one carbon is there. Sorry, carbon. I am missing a carbon. See, here one more carbon is there. Okay, right. So this is the carbon. Now we have C double bond N. Right. When we have C double bond O or C double bond N next to the anionic center, then we can say it will stabilize the conformation by assuming an endo transition state, like in case of Diels-Alder reactions. What is endo transition state? The additional double bond will have secondary orbital interaction with the double bonds in diene, right? So here also this additional C double bond or C double bond, only in the case of C double bond O or C double bond N, it undergoes endoselectivity. That means it must be placed near to this pi system. So since pi system is in above it is like this, so we must place like this. This is N, this is oxygen. This is what is called exoselectivity. What do we say? It is this is endoselectivity. In the Diels-Alder conditions, it is different, right? We will write it below the plane. Why? Because this diene double bond is nearer to the additional double bond in dienophile when it is in endo conformation. So similarly, here also what we are doing, we are writing endo conformation means this additional double bond, C double bond O or C double bond N moiety, next on the anion must be placed nearer to this double bond so that it will have good secondary orbital interactions. Yeah, here we have negative charge, so one more hydrogen is there. I'll place this hydrogen like this. Now we will give the numbering. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So there will be a bond formation between 2, 3 systems. There will be a bond breaking between 1, 2 systems. Now we will see how this can be converted to product. Right. While writing the products, please don't change the carbon skeleton. You write the carbon skeleton as it is. We are not having 1 bond, so I'm not going to write. So we are forming a double bond here. When we rearrange it, anion will polarize like this, double bond will polarize like this. Oxygen will get the negative charge. At the end of the reaction, we add water or H plus O, so it becomes OH. Right. So this is the double bond here. Then we have hydrogen below the plane, methyl group above the plane because it is E substituent. Then this is the new sigma bond generated. And of course, hydrogen is like this. Oxygen, this group is above the plane. So this group we need to write above the plane. Oxygen is away from the observer, so it must be written below the plane. We must follow this rule. Okay. If it is other than C double bond O or C double bond N carbon, then it must be written in place of hydrogen, right? So that is what is called exo rule, right? So when you want to write the product, what we will do, we will generally write in the zigzag fashion. We will write it in the zigzag fashion. So when we are writing zigzag fashion, this is the bond. So yeah, you can see this trans conformation. So that means this hydrogen must be in the plane. This hydrogen must be in the plane, right? So double bond is there. Then next to double bond, this carbon, we have methyl group above the plane, and here this carbon, right? Here this alkyl group is in the plane, but in this conformation it is the hydrogen. So what we need to do, we need to rotate this carbon. We need to rotate this carbon in such a way that this alkyl group in the product, this alkyl group must come into the plane. So if it wants to come to the plane, what we need to do, we need to rotate it in a counterclockwise direction, so that this group will come here. Hydrogen will occupy the OH place. OH will occupy this alcohol, this alkyl group place, right? When we want to make it in the plane, what we need to do, we need to bring this molecule to the hydrogen place. So we will rotate it in a counterclockwise direction. When we rotate it, this group becomes, this group will come to the hydrogen place. Hydrogen will occupy the oxygen OH place. OH will occupy this entire moiety place. So that is why OH is coming above the plane. Yeah, we need to also remember that these two substituents are almost cis or syn to each other. In the last part of pericyclic reactions, we have 1,3 hydrogen shift. What is this 1,3 hydrogen shift? When we have an allyl carbon, and on the allyl carbon, if we have a hydrogen, then hydrogen can be shifted from this allylic carbon to the double bond, so that this double bond will undergo rearrangement. So this will break down. Okay, so this is what is called, I think I'm yeah, the arrows may be wrong because hydrogen will shift as H plus. Okay, electron polarizations must be in a different fashion, opposite fashion, right? Double bond will pick up this proton, so the hydrogen carbon sigma electrons are polarized towards the double bond, so it is like this. Better I'll rewrite it. So this double bond will pick up the proton, then these sigma electrons are polarized like this. This will be polarized like this, and the product is, this is the new double bond, and we have hydrogen here. So this is what is called 1,3 hydrogen shift. When we go for numbering, we can easily understand 1, 2, 3. So allylic system is 1, 2, 3. Hydrogen is 1. So that is why it is called 1 means 1. 3 means 1, 2, 3, 3. So this is 1,3 hydrogen shift. Now we will look at the molecular orbital approach of this 1,3 hydrogen shift. Right. When you want to have this 1,3 hydrogen shift, it must be through HOMO of the molecular orbital. For an allylic system, the HOMO is psi2. HOMO is psi2. for a three-membered system, it must be the HOMO which is involved in the reaction. HOMO is side 2 in case of a 3-carbon system, allylic system, allyl cation or allyl anion. Sorry, allyl cation. Right. When we have side 2, we have one node here. So that is why I'm not writing the orbital here. Because of the node, the phase of the orbital will change. Now, if you want to have 1,3 hydrogen shift, this is the 1s orbital of hydrogen, which is overlapping with the p orbital of the carbon. Now, if you want to have 1,3 hydrogen shift, then this hydrogen from this carbon must be shifted to this carbon. If it wants to have, yes, it cannot shift here, right? So this cannot be done because this orbital is having a negative lobe, whereas this hydrogen is having a positive lobe. So this approach is not possible. Alternatively, we can also have this is suprafacial approach. Alternatively, we can also have antarafacial approach. That means shifting this orbital to the above the plane. Of course, as I said, in a 3-carbon system, antarafacial approach, that means rotation of this carbon, this orbital is not possible because it is a very short chain. This orbital will not rotate. Okay. If it rotates, then only we can have antarafacial 1,3 hydrogen shift. But if it doesn't rotate, in principle, it is possible antarafacially, but if it doesn't rotate, yes, we cannot do that, right? So that is why 1,3 hydrogen shifts are forbidden under thermal conditions. 1,3 hydrogen shifts are forbidden under thermal conditions. So I'll read the notes. 1,3 hydrogen shifts are impossible because a rigid 3-carbon chain is too short to allow the hydrogen to transfer antarafacially. Okay. One comma 3 hydrogen shifts are impossible because a rigid 3-carbon chain is too short to allow the hydrogen atom to transfer antarafacially. So that is why 1,3 hydrogen shifts are not possible under thermal conditions. Now we will see 1,3 carbon shifts. What is 1,3 carbon shift? First, I'll explain the molecular orbital approach. For a 1,3 carbon shift, we always take the HOMO for an allyl system. So Psi2, that means HOMO of the allyl system is Psi2. And because we have a node in Psi2, I'm not writing this orbital. Then if it is positive lobe, then because of the node, it becomes a positive lobe. Now a carbon is attached here. Carbon generally will have overlap with the p orbital. So because if it is a sigma bond, this orbital is positive lobe, this orbital is negative lobe. Now if you want to have a 1,3 carbon shift, that means this is 1, 2, 3, and this carbon is the 1. Now if you want to have a 1,3 carbon shift, this orbital cannot be shifted to this because it is negative lobe, it is positive lobe. But alternatively, that means suprafacial is not possible, but if it shifts, that means antarafacial, yes, antarafacial it is possible, right? Here this p orbital from the carbon, which is rotating and then undergoing antarafacial shift, antarafacial bond formation. It is not the orbital which is in the 3-membered system, it is the carbon which is attached to this 3-carbon system that is undergoing antarafacial transformation. So that is why it is allowed 1,3 hydrogen shift is an allowed transformation. This is positive lobe. This is again positive lobe. This is positive. Right. So 1,3 carbon shift is an allowed transformation, but remember this carbon is undergoing antarafacial bond formation. That means it is rotating. So because of this rotation, what will happen? We will have inversion of configuration. Inversion of configuration. Remember that 1,3 carbon shifts will involve inversion of configuration at the carbon which is undergoing migration. Right. Now I will give you one example so that you will better appreciate the subject. This is hydrogen, this is methyl group, and we have a double bond here. Now you see 1, 2, 3. This is one. Is it so? No, sorry. This is not the one, this is the one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is the allyl system, and the next carbon is the 1. Okay, next carbon is the 1. Right. So when we want to have 1,3 carbon shift, generally it is treated at 120 degrees centigrade. Of course, it is an equilibrium reaction favoring the 1,3 carbon shift. 1,3 carbon shift. Now, when you want to write the product, as I said, don't change the carbon skeleton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is a 5-membered ring. Give the numbering. It is 1, 2, 3. Then we have a substituent here. And this one system is again coming to first carbon. So this is the one. This is the one. Right. So when you want to write the product, what is this? It is inversion of configuration. Now here this methyl group is pointed right side. In the product, it must be pointed left side. CH3 hydrogen. In the reactant, it is right side because the inversion of configuration in 1,3 carbon shift, it must be written left side. So this is what the product is. And we have one more double bond between 2,3 carbons. A double bond here, right? Please write the double bond. I'll give you one more example, so then you take the notes. Okay. D deuterium, OAC, hydrogen below the plane. This is a right. When this is treated under thermal conditions, first we need to recognize this 1,3 systems, right? So allylic system, yes, allylic system. Then this is the one, right? Of course, I have given the numbering in a different fashion, but still it is valid. Otherwise, if you want to try from this side, yes, you can also try from this side, right? 1, 2, 3. This is 1. So we can have both sides, it is possible. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That means we can shift this carbon or this carbon. Both of them are correct. Okay. What I'll do, I'll try to shift this, okay, because I have given the numbering like this. Now, it generates like this. I'll give the numbering. This is 1, 2, 3, and this is the first carbon. Okay, right. Now there is a double bond rearrangement from 2, 3 to 1, 2 system. And here this D, because this carbon is undergoing alkyl shift, it must have inversion of configuration. Of course, here we have OAC, which is already below the plane. Now the carbon which is bearing D is undergoing alkyl shift, 1, 3 alkyl shift. So it must have inversion of configuration. Now this can be rearranged. See, this is the bridge. This side we have 2 carbons, this side we have 2 carbons. So it can be rearranged like this. Okay, it can be rearranged like this so that D becomes above the plane, OAC becomes above the plane. Please understand, it was rearranged so that it becomes above the plane. What is important is here these two are trans, but in the product these two are cis. These two are cis. So that is what it is important for you. Please take the notes. So 1, 3 carbon shifts are always involved in inversion of configuration.